question I get all the time is, well, gosh, how much do you guys charge? Well, we charge about $100 for every $10,000 that we were managing, and that's $100 in a year. So it's 0.25, or in this case, it would be like $25 a quarter.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Wealth Defense Radio, the podcast. I am your host, Josh Inahosa, and I am an independent advisory representative for Swan DFW. And this is my co-host, Hector Inahosa, who is a certified financial planner, which is the highest mark in our industry.
That's right. Good morning.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
So this is one of our first video podcasts. We recorded 3 a while ago. We're going to start doing these weekly.
Wait, we're on video now?
I know.
Well, we've come a long way.
We have.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk everybody through the ropes about how these are going to go, who we are, what our business is, how we came up with the names of everything.
Okay. Kind of like you would do if you met somebody on the street and you wanted to know, hey, so what do you do? How do you do it? Why do you do it? And why should I think about doing business with you?
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant idea.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So ideally, if you had questions, this would be the video that you'd be watching.
Yeah.
This podcast is brought to you by Swan DFW. If you're new, Swan DFW stands for Sleep Well at Night.
What a clever name. Where did that come from?
I don't know. Where did that come from?
It actually came from our clients. As I started this RIA, Registered Investment Advisory, I asked our folks, what would you want me to do for you if you were going to come to my firm? And like most people that have a lot of money, they said, we're never going to be rich. We just want to be able to sleep well at night. And I thought, there's something there. Mm-hmm. Of course, DFW stands for where we are, but
yeah, that's Dallas-Fort Worth.
Oh, yes,
for those of you keeping track at home. So, how old is Swan DFW?
Well, we did this in January of 2014, so we are right at 10 years old, 10 and a half years old, and it's been an exciting ride, and there's been a lot of people that have been with us from the very beginning. So, thank you for those that have done that, and for all the people that have come on in the last 10 years. It's a blessing to be able to be trusted with somebody's, most of the time life savings and their future for retirement. We take that seriously. We have a lot of fun, but we take it seriously. We want to do a great job.
For sure. So if you're going to sum up, somebody's coming to Swan DFW, what are they coming to Swan DFW for?
Well, most folks kind of, once you get past 50 or into your 60s, you start thinking about there's going to come a day where I'm not going to go to work anymore. And how do I maintain my standard of living when I don't have a paycheck coming every weekly or biweekly or monthly? And how does that work? And I understand Social Security, and if you have a pension, that's cool. And I understand, I have this big 401k, but how does all that happen, and how do I do that in such a way where I don't run out of money? Because that's the biggest fear that older Americans have, is we don't want to run out of money before we run out of life. That's a very scary proposition, because then you lose your independence and your dignity, and somebody else is making decisions for you. So those are the kind of things we take into account as we start doing a financial plan. Everything we do is based off of a financial plan.
So that is the name of the company, is Swan DFW. The name of the show is Wealth Defense Radio. And why don't you talk about where that name comes from? Well,
it comes from because there's 2 big areas of planning for retirement. The first part is building the wealth. And then the second part is when you start taking money out and you want to defend it against running out of money. You want to make sure that there's enough money there for you to retire. And so that's where we want to, once we've created the wealth, we want to defend the wealth. We want to do things with it that ensures that we'll have income for the rest of our lives. It's a twofold thing when it comes to wealth building. The biggest part in retirement is making sure that whatever wealth you've built will take you and your spouse to the, till you get called home and have money there, and maybe even leave money for a legacy. We don't want to build it, start spending it, and then be broke. I read somewhere that's not a good thing.
Yeah, I would agree. In general, I feel like going broke in retirement is not always what you want.
You never want that.
Right.
It's hard to recoup.
Because there's a lot of those toothpaste that only 9 out of 10 dentists recommend. So there's got to be the one dentist that recommends going broke.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy's in real, not only is he doesn't have any money, he's got really bad teeth. So what do you think about that?
So what sorts of things do we talk about on Wealth Defense Radio, the podcast, the video series?
Well, a lot of the questions are the basic questions we've gotten from clients over the years. Just people that come to us with real, honest questions about, how, for the first one is, how is this going to work? Well, even before then is, why should I even consider working with a financial planner? And, why can't I just do that myself? I'm on the internet a lot and I know how to search for things. Those kinds of questions. The first one is, why even choose a financial planner? Then the next one is, okay, now that you've convinced me to do a planner, then why Swan? And then what is Swan's value proposition? And then after we get past that, it's, okay, but what do I do about, or what do I do with, or how do I make sure that? And those are the kind of questions we tackle on the podcast is, what do I do with my son that's going to go to college? And how do I pay for college and retire? Those kind of more specific questions. But in general, it's, why should I use a financial planner, and why should we use Swan? And what's your value proposition?
I would say that this is more of an educational podcast than like a listen to it and take immediate action. You should always talk to a professional before doing.
Our compliance people are really going to like it. Yeah, there's nothing here that's actionable. We'll talk about general concepts and general ideas, but before we can give a recommendation, it's good to talk to us. Let us get a lot of information about your situation, and then we'll be happy to give you what we think.
Yep. So you brought up an interesting question that we're going to tackle here with the end of our podcast time.
Okay.
Why a financial planner? If I can look up all these things and Google is awesome and AI is becoming a thing, can't I do this by myself?
Yeah. And we're going to talk about some statistics where we see a lot of people doing that. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about the thing. If you did that one time, you would learn an awful lot about what to do and what not to do in planning for getting into and finishing retirement. And the second time you do it, you would say, well, I'm not going to do that again, and this time I'm going to do this. And when you work with somebody like me or like us, you have the advantage. We've walked with a lot of people before you, and we have, first off, as a CFP, you got to go through a lot of stuff, 5 years experience, a huge test, a master's type program. So you come out with a lot of knowledge, but then you put that knowledge into, and so when you work with somebody like me, you've got, I've only been in the business since 1995. So you have all of that experience that I've gained by walking people to and through retirement. And so you're not going to make those kind of mistakes, maybe, or wrong choices, is maybe a better word, than you would if you were doing it on your own for the first time. And I hear that when people work with planners, they actually, most people don't want to come to a planner because there's a fee. And what did you find out for us?
So according to the Journal of Retirement Study,
I read that every single night.
Yeah, it's my favorite retirement journal study
awesome.
Group.
Jokes of the week are pretty good.
It's up there, but it's a riveting read, real colorful. But they say that people who use financial advisors, even after fees, wind up with 15% more money at retirement.
And we find that in our business. We have people who have been doing it on their own for a while and finally get tired of trying to figure out what to buy and what to sell, because that's a lot of pressure. You always have, portfolio management. You always have, okay, I'm going to buy something, but when do I sell it? And so, yeah, we think we can deliver a bigger return, end up with a bigger portfolio, reduce your stress so that you're able to sleep well at night and answer all the questions that you have along the way. I have a gentleman, Mark, works for a nonprofit. We just had a conversation. Every year he calls me and says, okay, I'm getting real antsy because he's within a couple of years of retirement. About 4 or 5 years ago, in the middle of the pandemic, he called me and said, should I be worried? When do I start to worry? And I said, that's a great question. I will call you when you need to start worrying. But if I haven't called you, let me worry. And he kind of liked that. He liked it so much that it took him a whole year to call me back. But that's just his personality. But and we always go back to the financial plan. And in our financial plan, we have worst case scenarios, and we try to build portfolios that will go through that. And so, but he's got a short memory. He's a PhD. You would think he would remember things, but oh well.
All that knowledge went to the PhD.
To his theology.
Yeah. So 15% more money at retirement.
That's a lot.
You would think 100% of people would take that deal.
I would do it.
In fact, only 29% of people use a financial planner, which means there's 71% of people out there that are leaving money on the table.
That's right. Not only are they leaving money on the table, but they're taking on additional stress. And probably not anything like me, but when I'm really stressed, or when I see most people really stressed, they're not much fun to be around. That stress carries over to, your life and things like that. So by hiring a planner, not only are you going to be a little less stress-free or a little more stress-free, you're also going to have a bigger return. So yeah, and that's why we do this, is it's not scary. The question I get all the time is, well, gosh, how much do you guys charge? Well, we charge about $100 for every $10,000 that we are managing under assets under management, we call it, and that's $100 in a year. So it's 0.25, or in this case, it'd be like $25 a quarter. And why wouldn't you do that if you're going to end up with more money and less stress? Sounds like a pretty good deal to me.
Seems like a no-brainer.
Seems like.
For our people on video, our phone number and email address will be on the screen.
Yeah.
For our audio-only people, that phone number is 888-792-6339. That's 888-792-6339. And also, we have an email address if you would prefer written correspondence, and that is info@swandfw.net. That's info, like short for information, at swan, like the bird, DFW, like Dallas-Fort Worth, .net, like the thing that you catch some fish in.
Okay.
If you want to see what we look like, these will be posted on YouTube. If you want to listen to these on the go and want the audio-only version, they'll be on Spotify.
Yeah.
And follow our social medias, because we'll have short clips and excerpts from our episodes posted on Facebook and MySpace.
Yeah, our producer-editor says he's going to cut out the most interesting things in our deals and post them on those things. I hope he's got some interesting things today to cut out. It'd be a waste of time, if not, but hopefully.
Yeah, so...
And no question is I don't want to say there's no such thing as a stupid question, because I've been in meetings but when it comes to financial planning, some people we don't get taught this in school. We don't really have an idea of how things work. So yeah, if you think, well, this is just too simple, go ahead and let's talk about that, because we think that the more you know about how the business works, the better chance we have of doing your business.
Yep. So that's pretty much all we got for everybody this week.
Yeah. Hey, thanks a lot. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to talking to you next week.
Yep. We'll catch you all in the next one.
See ya. God bless.
The preceding content is informational only and based on information available when created. It is not an offer or solicitation, nor is it tax or legal advice. It does not consider your financial circumstances and objectives and may not be suitable for you.